Thank you very much for joining me for this session of Dr. Plotzker's Mind. I've been on the road, or partly in the air, and partly on the road, and partly visiting places new and familiar, uh, places that I once haunted decades ago, uh, a gathering of people who I see less frequently than I should, including my own children, who have been pretty reliable about coming to us periodically, more than my wife and I have been uh, focused on visiting them in their homes. But it was a good trip, about 5 days, focused on a family event, uh, roughly the middle. I rented a car and did some touring. I also was a little less focused on how much things cost. For a variety of reasons, I selected a more upscale hotel than what I normally choose. This was intended to be a family visit, but it's also a vacation, a means of immersing myself in the new place that I was going. Again, partly new, at least this section of the area, and partly very familiar, as I had lived nearby 50 years earlier and have had occasion to return to the familiar area periodically since then. So what did I do? Quite a lot of things. I enjoyed the hotel. It had a pool, a little on the chilly side, indoor and outdoor, both usable. It had a hot tub, which is one of my go-tos, my form of relaxation, though when I select a hotel, I don't insist that it have one. The car gave me some freedom. After resting the first travel day, the second day I ventured to an outing. The region has some wineries. It is very rural. Uh, the state, which I will not identify, is largely agricultural. Its city is not that far from the agricultural region, and also a very historical region. I committed my second day to what would be called a day trip if I still lived in the city. I drove through rural areas, through farms, uh, visited a winery, as the region is becoming known for its viniculture. It is also anchored around a historical town, a small town, but one that changed flags several times over just a few decades. Uh, as the Mississippi Valley transferred from the Spanish uh, to the French and then to the Americans. The town itself seems to be in the early stages of its development. It has a dominant industry, limestone, which provides employment. The core historical area can be walked in about 20 minutes or so. It encompasses just a few blocks and caters primarily to visitors who want ice cream or coffee or a sandwich. Um, the historical building that we visited was a home, uh, not a particularly uh, good uh, reconstruction of how the people lived, instead of furnishing the foundation that runs it, filled the walls and exhibits in a more museum type way. For Shabbos, I had two places to go. One, a synagogue, very similar to mine in its character. It had an interesting development, beginning not too far before I relocated there for school. I had never visited there. I had never worshipped there. It's in somewhat of a ritzy area, which is why it was chosen as the site. It has a form of worship that was more attractive at its founding than it is now. Due to security, it is prudent to let the office know that you will be coming if they do not know who you are. I did that, and they were very gracious to me. It sits on an immense campus, which is very different from my home congregation. The worship itself was very recognizable. I met the rabbi. I met the um, regular attendees who seemed primarily contemporaries of mine and roughly the same age as my home synagogue. The main event, uh, Saturday afternoon, a buffet with an occasion. I met extended family. I met my daughter-in-law's um, childhood and young adulthood friends. My daughter had flown in from San Francisco, my son from Pittsburgh, um, and we renewed old times. The following day, I went to my old haunts with my daughter. I had attended school there. The place looked very different, though the apartment building where I lived and later where my son lived were still there. The area had recently sustained a natural disaster. Um, Cleanup efforts could be seen as I drove through the different neighborhoods. Uh, I returned to the hotel, went out to a somewhat more upscale dinner with my son, his in-laws, and my daughter. My son treated. He was the highest paid person in the room. And then um, some chill time and preparation to go home. It was a good trip. It was good to get away. The airline served us reasonably well. The rental car experience uh, exceeded what I expected. The hotel had this mixture of relaxation and pampering. So largely what I wanted, the merger of the familiar of the past, some new experiences, and some recreation, largely what it should be. Thanks so much for sharing this episode of Dr. Plotzker's Mind.